Hello, hello, this is the Pink Warden checking in. Ashes of Creation continues to impress with greater and greater footage of character and costuming. Let's take a look at what we know so far. Last year in a release, we were introduced to the Archer Assassin class character who can not only climb up buildings but also has an intriguing Italian Renaissance classic fantasy archer outfit with the tight leather, a hood, and a well-tailored body. This costume is very akin to an Arabian theme, Crusader theme outfit, very Assassin's Creed. A wonderful modern take on the common fantasy themes that we are seeing come more and more into this style of gaming. Thanks to the most recent live feed, we've also been introduced to the tank costuming for this game, and I have to say this tank costuming is near and dear to my heart because I love armor. So we've got the classic bulky full armor here, huge swords, epic shields. I wonder if we'll even have a chance to maybe customize the crest on our shields. We also see contrasting colors with the armor to just add an even more impactful impression to each character. I really have to point out the cape. The animation on that cape is incredible. It is so flowy, and the detail on it with the lined edge is just impeccable. It really reminds me a lot of the Batman cape. Of course, Batman was used creating the exact same engine, so I can definitely see that Intrepid is taking full advantage of their animatronic abilities in this game to really come up with some incredible character costuming so that we can really enjoy the game and have that feel of realism to it. In this recent live game, we were also introduced to the cleric character known as Phoenix Cleric. He has on a standard armor, a little bit different, less bulky than the tank costuming, but also nice and protective. And he wears a white loose tunic, also with the gold lining on it. Quite an interesting take there, and he's got big boots. So they've got the whole leather thing going on here with the tight leggings. Plenty of space to have hilts and weapons and such. It's definitely very Renaissance akin to the knights from that time period. So those are the three costume themes that we have seen for sure, some more cemented images of. Now, we've also seen some concept art for some other possibilities. We have a desert area with an Arabian Greek theme. We can see in some of those images that there are NPCs dressed in tunics with gold jewelry. There are also some Greek-inspired statues with togas, so who knows, maybe we'll get to have a toga party in the game. We've also seen the Polynesian area where there are dwarf-like small characters that have sort of costuming that has a Polynesian Moana feel with the grass skirts and the fabric tops for the ladies. Finally, we haven't seen any real dwarf costuming yet, and I am so curious to see what the dwarf costuming will look like. Will it just be smaller versions of the armor that humans are going to use? Or given that dwarves are specialists with metalworking, is it going to be extremely detailed and lined with jewels and other things like that? It's going to be captivating to see how exactly they decide to characterize the dwarves. The final possibility for interesting costuming that we've seen since their website release is that of an Asian-themed area. So perhaps in this area we're going to see some Mulan-style kimonos, maybe some Last Airbender costuming, or perhaps even some Shrine Maiden costumes. So that's all that we've seen so far as the primary costuming is concerned with the game. Now, I wanted to bring up another interesting point that we noticed a recent update on the website. So originally, the CEO, Stephen Sharif, has stated in a lot of interviews that the setting of the game is going to be high fantasy. In my last video, I questioned the use of that term in regard to the overall art and costuming for the game. I was really surprised to find out that the Ashes homepage has since been updated to describe the game as medieval fantasy. Alright, it's time for a slight bookworm moment here. The medieval period is the Middle Ages, which lasted from about the 5th to the 15th century. It began with the fall of the Eastern Roman Empire. This period is also known as the Dark Ages and was historically ruled by brutality, filth, and disease.
Bring out today! Bring out today!
From my observations, Ashes of Creation appears to be more Renaissance fantasy based. The Renaissance period is the period of enlightenment and exploration, when new lands and cultures were discovered. This was the time of great artists and inventors. Furthermore, the Renaissance period is when the Crusades in the Middle East and the discovery of Asia happened, two of the possible node settings that we've seen concept art for already. So the big question is, are they going to take the costuming and all of the details back down to the Dark Ages? Or can we expect another update on the clarification of exactly what they mean by high fantasy and whether this is actually more of a Renaissance period style game? Finally, this post would not be complete without discussing the one and only ladies costume that we have seen so far. In order to help understand my perspective on this, I'm going to compare two mages. The ladies mage that we saw in a release from about a year ago with the recent release that we had from the live game feed that presented the Phoenix mage costume of a male character. So right off the bat, I have to say that I'm not a huge fan of what they're doing with their female character costumes. We've got bare shoulders, we have a slight tunic around the top, and some very questionably exposed areas on the character. Thankfully, she does have plenty of accessories for holding her book and other useful supplies that she may need, but then she has absolutely nothing protecting her legs. Basically, from the waist down, you have some fabric hanging there and swooping like a cape. Now let's look at the male mage. He is in complete armor. While it may not be completely metal, because of course metal inhibits magical abilities in most fantasy games, he does have his entire body covered with tunics, long sleeves, leather gloves, leather pants, big thick boots. So my question to my fans is, how realistic are they going to have the female characters be in this game? Are we going to be scantily clad to the point where we really don't even want to necessarily be a female character? Or are we going to have some options that make us look like incredible adventurers? Take a look at this one. Maybe we can come up with some ideas of our own to help Intrepid out a little here, since most of Intrepid's staff is men. Here's a couple of images from animes that I adore, including Snow White with the red hair. We've also got our heroine from Sword Art Online. And finally, here we have Saber from Fate Stay Night. These adventure costumes still show off the female figure while allowing us to have realistic armor and some really great costuming design. So I am very, very interested to see where Intrepid actually takes the female costumes, whether we're going to have the option that they've presented to us so far, which is just basically fabric hanging off of the character, or whether they're going to give the female characters the costumes that we deserve to make us feel like strong adventurers in the game. That's it for today's update. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more updates. See you next time! What? It's an MMORPG? Okay.